Hello! This video will cover the WSU Classroom Use Visualization and includes a discussion of the data processing steps that are to be done in R. Okay, let's go ahead and get started then. Before showing you the data processing steps, let's talk a little bit about what kind of visualization am trying to obtain. So here you can see that I have kind of a calendar type look. I have the days of the week going across here on the x-axis. I have the times here from 8 o'clock in the morning through 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The deeper the red color here, the more that time slot is being filled. There's more classes during those times. So we can see from 1 to 2 on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays looks fairly dark here. Also Tuesday, Thursday mornings at 8 o'clock in the morning are fairly dark. In the late afternoons on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, those boxes are white, so those don't look like the classrooms in Gildemeister are being used during that time. Okay, so in order to create a visualization like this, I need to first divide my visualization into rows to identify the different time slots and also different columns to identify the different days. I decided to do my time slots in half-hour time slots. The reason I did that is because on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I need 1 hour for class from 8 to 8:50 for most classes anyway. But on a Tuesday and Thursday, I need to go from 8 to 9:30 or 9:20. So the visualization, at least I thought the visualization would be a little bit easier to do using half-hour time slots, just because I have those differences between Tuesdays and Thursdays versus Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I need to be able to identify the different rows, so I have a total of 16 rows in my visualization, and I have a total of 5 columns. I'm going to exclude any classes that are on a Saturday and a Sunday, and I'm also excluding any classes that start before 8 a.m. or after, all classes need to end by 4 o'clock. So there are a few classes that go past 4 o'clock, but I'm not worried about including those on my visualization. So what needs to happen is that I need to just pick a row out of my data set here. This happens to be Gildemeister 155, Mondays at 10 o'clock. And I just need to identify in my grid whether or not this row should be counted. So they should be counted right here at 5 and 6 for on Mondays. Now there's also more rows for this class on Wednesday and Friday. So if I look further down in my data, I have a Wednesday row and also a Friday row for this same class, Stat 210 Section 2. So this Monday row is going to be used to identify these two slots here, rows 5 and 6 for Monday. Obviously the Wednesday row will click Wednesday, and Friday will capture the Fridays here. So there's going to be some data processing that has to happen, and I'm going to show you how to get that done now in R. I did post these steps that can be used to kind of help you through the process. I actually did the filter out. I did these here outside of R. So these are fairly easy things to do in a spreadsheet, just a filtering and creating some new fields. So when I went ahead and did that in a spreadsheet, so I did some pre-processing of this file in a spreadsheet, but I will show you the remainder of this in R. So real quickly, what does this pre-processing look like? Or what does the pre-processing need to result in? And that is a CSV file that has the following structure. So let's just go ahead and look at this a little bit. I got classroom. The time here is 10 to 10:50. So one thing I did is I created a new variable in my spreadsheet called start time and end time. So I just pulled the information off of column C here. If you'd like to see how I did that and how I did the filter, you can watch the first few minutes of the Excel version of the data processing video. So the Excel version of the data processing video will include information on how that is done. So once I have this pre-processed data here, I'm going to save that, and that's what I end up bringing into R here. So here that first command is just to read CSV and I'm bringing that document in using that function. Now you can do an import data set and use base is how I would do that, and you can pull that file in that way as well. That's going to run the read.csv file, a function for me. The next thing I'm going to do, maybe blow this up a little bit so that you can see that. The next thing I'm going to do is create just a column of ones in that data set. And what that's going to do is assist me in my full join. So I could have done that in the pre-processing step as well. What did I call it? The by variable, it looks like. So here, all I'm really doing is just by variable and creating a column of ones there. I decided to do that inside of R. I'm just using the mutate. I happen to be using the dplyr library here in order to do my mutate, and then I just have classroom by variable equal 1. This information is just being pushed back into classroom data. So if I run this command, and then I run adding the extra column in, what that data set should look like is this here. So you can see my by variable has been successfully added there. Next, I'm creating my time slot data table. That data table is just going to have a column of ones in it again, and then I got my times, which are going to indicate the different rows here. Okay, so my times are 8 through 3:30 in the afternoon here. What that table looks like is, if I can find it here, time data. That table just has that simple structure there. What I'm doing here is just, Classroom Data 2 is actually doing the join. It's a full join, which means I want all rows or all combinations of the information in classroom data to be joined with all combinations over here in my time data. Now essentially what that's going to do is just explode row number 1 out a total of 16 times, one for each of these time slots. And I'm going to need to do that in order to write my if statement that checks to determine whether or not the classroom is being used for each time slot across all 5 days of the week. So let's go ahead and run that command. Classroom Data 2 now. Classroom Data 2 is going to be much bigger than classroom data. So classroom data had 238 observations. Classroom Data 2 has 16 times that. Okay, because what I have here is, as I said, that first class gets broken out or exploded into 16 different rows, one for each of my time slots. Now what I'm going to do is just check to see if my time, okay, so my times here, is this quantity bigger than or equal to the start time? That would indicate that it's busy during that time. And is this less than or equal to the end time? Okay, so like this one here, 10 o'clock, that classroom is busy at 10 o'clock. So I want this one to indicate, I have it indicating as a 1 here. It's also busy at 10:30 because 10:30 here is between 10 and 10:50. So I should end up with a 1 here at rows 5 and 6 after this if statement if it's completed successfully. I am saving this into Classroom Data 3 just to keep our data frames separate here. And here over on the right you can see the time busy being created. So there that is, that 1 for rows 5 and 6, because this classroom is busy at 10 and 10:30 because the class runs from 10 to 10:50 during that, on Mondays that is. And that's being done here for all of the different classes across all of the different days of the weeks here. And these would be all the classrooms in Gildemeister, obviously. Here what I'm doing is just correcting the levels so that Monday is first, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I'm also reversing the levels on my time. So my time here started at 8 o'clock in the morning and went to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3:30 in the afternoon. But normally those would be the smaller values on the bottom and the larger values here. But if I want it to look like a calendar, it's going to be reversed there. So I've reversed the factor labels for time as well. This is my statement that is actually doing my summaries for me. So let's go ahead and run each of these. I'm not sure where I'm at. Run that one, run this one, run my summaries. And that's being put into Classroom 5. So if I look at Classroom 5 here, you can see that on Mondays, Mondays at 8 o'clock in the morning, I have 5 classrooms are being used at Mondays at 8 o'clock in the morning. You can notice that Mondays at noon, I have a slot where there's not any being used. So that's this one right here. You can see that's white. It's not intense at all. Late in the afternoon on Monday, actually Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, you can see those are white. So there's no counts there. So it looks like that if statement did what, or excuse me, the group by and summarize did what it needed to do. Once you have that information, then you can use ggplot to create this. I used a geom tile function as my geometry to make that occur. I don't want to give away how the ggplot works because that's part of the assignment, is to figure out how to make this in ggplot if you so choose to use R to create your visualization. Okay, then that does it for showing you how to get the data summaries done, or data processing steps in R for the classroom use visualization. Thank you.